Hi and welcome back. Claire Attio here.
Hi everyone, Sylvia Haida again.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the full moon in Sagittarius, which is coming up on the 3rd of June. Now, this is your moon, isn't it, Sylvia? We've just had my moon, which was Scorpio, and as Sylvia said, that was so hard.
That was hard, and but it was hard in the sense that I had to come clean with a lot of things and reconcile with a lot of things that it comes stinging with. But this one is really exciting because it's about growing and really putting all our energy and forcing into what you really want coming for next couple of years, I would say, but more put make sure that you're aware of where your energy is going, because that's where it's going to blossom. That's a good and bad thing, as always, because if all your energy goes into being stubborn or closed-minded, that's only gonna flourish more. But if you're growing to be like self-love, self-growth, for me, I think I'm going to do what I usually do is I do a sun moon meditate. I mean, a full moon meditation, out in the woods, and get bathed in the moonlight and sing. And I usually try to move with the wind or whatever, and that's just bring out all the vibrations and all the energy out with me. I think this time I'm going to focus a lot on personal growth, in the sense of old karma, past lives, like healing, because there's so much that I realized that it's still there, and I really need to go into that, because I really want to love that part, and my ancestors and my spirit guides and everything are guiding me towards revisiting that.
I want to, as you were talking then, I want to go back to your sun moon Freudian slip, because that for me was absolutely perfect, because you've got the divine feminine and the divine masculine in that
Mhm.
one sentence. And then you went on to talk about ancestral heritage healing. And I was just like, my whole inside was going, because I just love how spirit works through us, even when we even in the mundane, spirit is constantly working through us if we allow ourselves to see it. And that and Freudian slips. I mean, I often, when I say the wrong word, which I often do, or if I'm spelling stuff and I habitually spell a word and I'm putting the wrong letter in all the time, I make myself aware of what that letter is, because it's usually a message coming through. And
Mhm.
so it was lovely that you did that, because for me, that was instantly, yes, you need the sun and the moon this time, especially if you're going to be planting seeds of growth. You
Mhm.
need the sun to bring
Mhm.
that growth forward. That is how it works in nature. You need the sun, you need that you plant the seeds, you water those seeds, and then you need the sun for them to kind of grow
Figure out.
up, the photosynthesis. And
Yeah.
so that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Usually full moons for me, I tend to kind of use them for releasing. You can do both, because obviously as you release, you're making space, so new stuff drops in anyway. And so you can, but I tend to use, and there is no right or wrong, it's whatever
Yeah.
you're guided to do. I tend to use full moons for releasing more so than for manifest.
Yeah. So normally when we say full moon, this is a completion. So it's something that you want to complete.
Yeah.
But for this particular full moon in Sagittarius, this is a growth, and it
Mhm.
is of energy. So you want to make sure you direct it to the right place. New moons are for starting something new and grow as well. But and of course, if you want to release, is a facing moon. And so there's so many ways it goes into the moon, but there are other ways that we can do as well, as with every full moon. Of course, if you have crystals, take them out, make sure you cover them in plastic so they're not exposed to the elements, so some of them cannot get wet. There's also I love full moon water, especially for my plants. So I take out all the water and I to make full moon water. And but the biggest one for me is that the moonlight meditation, and just let see what comes in and where I need to direct my energy towards to.
Now, isn't it funny? Because I find full moon meditations much more powerful than new moon
Yeah,
meditations. So you're nodding yes, so you're finding it as well
yeah,
because we're all, as I said, we're all individual. But the full moon, I love bathing in the full moonlight and just allowing what needs to happen. And sometimes that can mean that I'm kind of dancing around like a lunatic. I mean, my neighbors, I'm sure they think I'm completely nuts. I mean, luckily, I don't live in a conventional neighborhood. I'm very fortunate that I'm out in the countryside. And so I only have a few neighbors where there's been barn conversions and things because I live on an old farm. But of course, sometimes I'm out there and then I'm kind of like, um, if they look out the window, it's like, oh yes, it's Claire again. Other times, and I've done this many, many times, which is, for other people to witness it, it can be quite hard, I suppose. But for me, it's an it's beautiful. I go into a meditative space and then I just find myself weeping. And the majority of the time, it's not me personally, it's information and a releasing of collective energies. And that is absolutely beautiful. That is an immense privilege. And I just try not to get into the head of it too much. I try not to kind of go and make stories out of what's happening. I just allow it to happen because there's such a beauty in just that surrender and allowance rather than having to kind of stick a ticket on it and say, oh, I've just worked on X, Y, and Z.
yeah. As you're saying that, I knew something was coming, channeling in, and it's also this moon is really good to let go of relationships that no longer serve you.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be anything from a person to almost an addiction toward, or something more like not physical, or anything that no longer serves you. It's a really good way for, this is what's really going to emphasize. So the energy that you put into that's what's going to be released. And remember, I said there was something with my ancestors, and I really know there's something in my old karma that I need to release. And for me, it's a little bit personal, so I'm not going to get into it, but it's something that has been lingering in my family for a long time that recently was brought up to my attention, and I'm going to do a meditation on that and release and let go. And then that energy that I have is going to go towards releasing that so that we can let go that karma, heritage karma that we have. Mm-hmm. Inherit, actually, or I've inherited, and I don't want to pass it to my daughter, so we're going to collectively let it go. And this is a perfect moon for that. But I've got that right now, is of sitting down on the grass, putting your hand on the grass, taking a deep breath in and exhaling everything that no longer serves you. And whatever comes into your mind, it's what needs to be let go. Mm-hmm. Whether it's work, education, book, spouse, girlfriend, friends, neighbor, feuds, whatever it is that pops up, that's what needs to be released, and that's where your energy should go. Whew.
And the beauty with that just is because, as Sylvia was sat there saying that, the whole shamanic thing was coming in for me, is don't suppress what comes up, because you may need to scream, or you may need to weep, or you may need to do what I have done this past week when I was doing a session on somebody. It was silent scream. So my whole body and my mouth was like,
Yeah.
And the energy was being released. Now, that wasn't me suppressing the noise, because if the noise was needed, it was needed. And sound is very powerful in lots of cases, but in this case, it didn't want to come out like that. It wanted to come out as a silent scream. And so I honored that. And whatever comes up for you, just honor it.
Yeah.
Just honor it. Let's just step away from all the things we've been taught that are right and proper and keeps us all in a box and stops us all from doing the healing that we need to do. And let's use the energies of the moon, and let's use our own connection with divine and our own intuition and do what we need to do without giving it a name, without giving it a label, without having to explain even to ourselves what just happened.
I was actually just going to say that it doesn't have to make sense or don't expect an explanation, just let it go. And also that you're saying whatever comes out, I usually sometimes tend to cough uncontrollably to the point where I feel I'm going to gag. Let that come out. Don't stop yourself from even gagging or vomiting, because that is the process of it. And so if you stop it, you're going to hold it and it's going to stay in. We need all of it out. And like you said, it can manifest in any form. And then it also can manifest as in nothing and stillness and like nothing happened. It doesn't mean it's not working. It is. That's the way it came out.
Yeah.
So don't expect anything. Don't put ideas. It's just accept what comes out. And if the most random idea comes up to you, it might not have been yours. It could have been in that heritage, lineage, in karma that needs to let go. So it's something within you or in your heritage karma or inherit karma. I don't
your lineage.
Lineage, everything. I've heard it so many. Every time I try to explain it to so many people, I go up and down, because then I have my more scientific people like, okay, it's
yeah. The one thing I will say is what I like to do, and just feel in, again, this is very personal, but what I like to do is whenever I'm releasing is I surround myself with the violet flame. And I do that so the violet flame can transmute whatever comes out. And I don't look at it. I'm not interested in what's in there. I'm not interested in what vibration it is carrying. Whatever comes out to be transmuted and transformed into the energy of love and return to ether. And so I always use that violet flame for that. The violet flame will neutralize, and then obviously I add my intention that it will be transformed into love before it goes back to ether. So collectively, whatever we're shifting, we're not just spewing out onto the land. We are shifting it, transforming it, and transcending it. And I think that's it for this one. We shall see you on the next. Bye-bye.
Bye.